92 minutes? Or
Here's where
88 or whatever? I mean, oh, wait, hold
here's
on. He's got to come out.
yeah, another thing that's just ridiculously awesome when you're 12, and another kind of pseudo Terminator thing,
This is, of course, pre Terminator,
right?
so.
Look at how bulky that flame retardant suit is.
Yeah, I mean, like, lighting a guy on fire was never as cool as it was in the early 80s. We
True.
had this, we had Swamp Thing, we had Terminator. Yeah, it was just bitching.
So finally, the cleansing power of fire is what brings down the evil. And I do like that, they thought Halloween 2 was going to be it, and they didn't explain why Michael Myers is who he is. There's the Salmon thing, and like that's all you get. They wanted him to go to his grave being inexplicably powerful, which was nice.
Yeah, and I mean, that scene could have very easily been cut. I mean, it was just to give Donald Pleasance another moment. And I mean, and the other thing I always liked about this movie was this sequence. I mean, it just looks good.
Yeah, it does. I always remember it. The
Yeah, it
misty morning.
it reminds me of what is that? Child's Play 2 where they exit the building, but in this one it's Panavision, Dean Kundi for one thing. I mean,
Here they just, well, I like that the movie just kind of like slows down to a stop after that climax. Nothing's really going on here except load. It's very procedural, but it gives it a kind of little bit of grounding reality at the very end in a very unrealistic movie. We're gonna take you to a real hospital now, one
yeah.
that isn't staffed by complete incompetence.
Well, I remember that, what is that show, Grey's Anatomy, after the first season, all these medical professionals were like writing letters to the show that said, "We do not screw and ignore patients all the time. Can you please fix that?" And apparently that's what people like about it, which makes it, sort of like Friday the 13th without the killing.
The other thing is memorable is just these two shots, that close up of Laurie, the Mr. Sandman, and then Myers
Yeah.
mask running away. It's a nice ending. I like the last 15 minutes of this movie.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing that kind of made him able to make Halloween H2O. Look at that. Jeffrey Kramer gets fourth billing in this movie? Please. Come on. That's absurd. Come on. Dr. Mixter gets any high bill? Look at that. Okay,
Dr.
anyway.
Mixter shouldn't have been above Nancy Stevens.
No,
No
not at
way.
all. And it should have been and Nancy Stevens and then a break or something. Um, And look at that. Annie gets credited. That's kind of cool that Nancy Loomis gets credited without any lines. But anyway.
Yeah.
Um, oh, and they credit Tony Moran even though you don't see his face,
Yeah,
really.
they did. I guess they just assumed.
But that's kind of the thing is that was the cool thing about H2O, and I'm sorry we're talking about that more than this one. Just that the thing about it, Halloween 2 is that they assumed you'd seen it, and whether you remembered it or not, whether or not you bought it 6 times on DVD like you did Halloween 1, you remembered some of it. Oh, there's Gary Keeby.
Hmm.
So, I mean, that's kind of, it sort of fit into the consciousness, I guess.
Well, the Halloween movies, like you said, they've got a lot of continuity, so they do have respect for their fans to a degree.
Well, that's the thing that I always bugged me about people's response to Halloween H2O
What?
was that couldn't be Michael at the end. She couldn't kill him. And it's kind of like, but that you're missing. You've then skipped the point of the movie, which was sort of which was turning Laurie Strode into the James Cameron action hero, female
Yeah,
action hero.
kind of making up for what her character had to go through in this
And,
one.
yeah, exactly.
And then not actually, it makes perfect sense that Rosenthal would come back for the next movie after H2O and have her killed off. He must really hate Jamie Lee Curtis.
Registered nurse, I like that, and it's a guy, Maurice Costello Jr. Um,
He must have just not liked Jamie Lee Curtis. He didn't have any use
He
for her
never said
character.
anything about her either.
Yeah.
Um, I'm kind of shocked that Rick Rosenthal doesn't have a rickrosenthal.com where you can buy commentaries to this and Bad Boys and the Ralph Macchio movie and The Birds 2.
Yeah, The Birds Too, Land's End, directed by Alan Smithee.
That's always been my problem with this kind of thing is that, you could get me to pay a buck 95 for a commentary to some shitty sci-fi movie sequel that you made. So, Don Post definitely did the masks for the first one. I think even
And for three.
Carpenter mentions him in the commentary for the first one, but it's like they don't do this, and it's not like no offense to Rick Rosenthal, but he could give the money to charity or something, and I'd pay a buck ninety
Well,
five for it.
good movies are well documented, but movies that aren't so good, sometimes the trivia is just
I'm
as interesting.
I'm not sure that's true in the age of DVD, as I realize that we're recording this with probably as much technological superiority as some of the crappy audio commentaries people listen to on actual DVDs. Here we go. I don't know who Gene and Louise Bramson are. I've never watched the special thanks on this.
Well, that's Halloween too for you.